Hey everybody, welcome in WJLB AM 1230, 104.7 FM in Hammond, Indiana, and we are live here now. Also through Jed TV, you can watch us at any time at jedtv.com. This is Of Notoriety with Phil Potempa. I'm Tony Panek. We'll get to Phil Potempa in just a second. He's got a great guest from the multi-winning, Tony Award-winning Best Musical, Kimberly Akimbo. He has actor Jim Hogan zooming in. But this is the podcast broadcast equivalent to all the stories you read in the Chicago Post-Tribune, uh, physical paper, or online as well. It's sponsored by Indiana Arts Commission and People's Bank. Great bank. I'm not just saying that because it's my bank there, Matt. Just walk across the parking lot, and you hit People's Bank. And of course, you can watch this anytime on Jet TV. We were coming to you live. You're listening to this live just after 10:30 a.m. on June 11th. With that, I believe we have Phil Potempa there, Matt, via Zoom on location. So let's take it to Phil right now. Oh, wait. I think let's see. We'll get some sound running on Phil there. Maybe the aux there, Matt there. We got to
Looks
boost
like
that.
he's muted on.
Muted. Let's see there. Let's see. I could come around to you too there. 1 second there, Phil.
There we go. I think we're good now. We've got our sound. How about now? Better?
Yep, it's better.
All right, we're back at it. Thank you so much, Tony, for doing our lead-in and our introduction. You're right. We've been waiting for this guest for a while. And matter of fact, it's a different slot for us on our Wednesday, as you mentioned, we're being captured on June the 11th, in case it's a rebroadcast. And there's plenty of time to see the wonderful music you just described, our Tony winner, Kimberly Akimbo. We have actor Jim Hogan, who's in. He's in town in Chicago just for the short time this run goes until June the 22nd. So you want to make sure you get your tickets right away, not to be missed. You saw the latest hottest winners that were on the Tony Awards Sunday night. This is the title of the musical we were talking about for the past year. It's time to get those tickets, BroadwayInChicago.com. And how about Jim? Are you there? Can you hear me all right?
Yes, I can. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you. I know tonight's our big press opening, as we mentioned, since we're capturing this on June 11th. So tonight will be the big opening. And you are so familiar with this material, not only just in this national tour, but you were the understudy for the role of Buddy when it was on the Broadway run, correct?
That's correct. Yes.
So you are more than familiar. It's tricky because in the description of it, I don't want to give too much away. So I'm going to let you give us our synopsis of it for to kind of give a tease to our audience of what the musical is about in your own
Absolutely.
words.
Absolutely. Kimberly Akimbo tells the story of Kimberly Lavaco, a run-of-the-mill 16-year-old teenager who happens to have a rare fictional genetic disease, which ages her 4 to 5 times the normal rate. And so we kind of see Kimberly go through all the normal things that a high schooler would, like falling in like and meeting love interest and also some some not so normal things, dysfunctional family, for example, myself, and a little bit of check fraud thrown in there. So there's a little something for everybody, which is a lot of fun.
It's a lot. It's a lot that unfolds. I know in that time frame, but it's such a unique, story, and the fact that it captures what are real life experiences that span the spectrum. Some that maybe we can identify with because of what the unique situation she has with her own diagnosis. But yet, I bet there's, and again, I've not seen yet. I'll see it at tonight at the opening, but I bet it still taps in and resonates with audiences in different ways because we can all identify with something, be it the family dynamic or, a high school situation. Those memories are etched forever, correct?
Absolutely. There really is something for everybody in this show. It's my favorite part about it, for sure.
And tell us about actually your role of Buddy, because I know since you understudied for it, now you're walking in those shoes. Just give us a little bit of a thumbnail about that character.
Yeah, Buddy is such a complicated, fantastically odd person. I just love him. I feel very lucky to get to play him. He is Kimberly's father, who is at the end of the day just deeply, deeply in love with his daughter, but really struggles with ways to show it. And so, you see him make these efforts to be a good dad to his daughter, and ultimately coming up short. So there's a lot of really great writing in there that we get to play with, so yeah, I feel very lucky to finally get to play the part full time. Yeah.
I know Matt, our producer's got some of the production photos, so he'll float those across the screen so we can see some of them. A number of our scenes have a lot of people and a lot going on in there. I'm curious, did that take quite a bit of finessing? If there's a scene to watch out for tonight, what was one of the more scenes that really took some fine tuning, that because that timing is everything, or that exchange of what was happening between the characters and the dialogue was so key for the reaction? Give me one scene that really it took some fine tuning to really get it down for everything that has to go on.
Absolutely. There's a great scene right towards the end of Act One where my character Buddy is driving Kimberly and her newfound love interest Steph to school in the morning. And not only did it take a long time to finesse the literal scene work and the text of it, but we are also recreating the movements that you would see in a car, right? So we're moving with the seats, we're like feeling the brakes, and it's just a whole two-sided thing that's happening within the choreography of our bodies and the tricky scene work that we're dealing with, as well as Buddy is very overprotective of his daughter, and suddenly there's this new energy in there. So it's a lot of fun to see the dichotomy between those two.
If you're just tuning in, or perhaps you've caught us halfway through our interview, the voice that you're seeing, or perhaps the face, if you caught us to stream, you have the advantage of our video component. After Jim Hogan, we're talking about the Broadway hit run. Kimberly Akimbo is in town for Chicago. It is at the CIBC Theater. I still call it the old Schubert, right on Monroe Street. And it will be there until June the 22nd. So we don't have a real long run with it, but enough time to get your tickets right away. You will not be disappointed. And of course, tickets are very easy to get. www.broadwayinchicago.com. And it's what everybody's been talking about. Now, here's what I always like to ask one of these questions that's not really that tough, Jim, a little bit. So when you were first part of it, when you were first cast, because your journey with this production began on Broadway, how long have you been affiliated with it? Can you go back in time and tell us that, well, the first time I signed on with it, with the understudy, was in this month, this year? Give us that back date.
Absolutely. I mean, I signed on in August of 2022 as the standby for the role of Buddy. So my, first entrance was in the original Broadway cast. But I do have to say, I was a fan first. This show ran off Broadway at the Atlantic Theater Company about a year prior, and my girlfriend, who now is out here on the road, Emily, she's playing Deborah. Um, she took me to see the show because she had seen it with her parents about a week prior and was just so obsessed with it. She was like, "You need to see this. This is kind of everything that we love about musical theater." So we went and saw it, and I immediately, after that experience, I texted my agent and I was like, "I need to be a part of this in some capacity.
Oh,
I'll sweep the floor that they need it." And I got lucky. I got an audition to stand by on Broadway, and they picked me. So, here we are now, all those years later, getting to play the role in amazing places like Chicago. It's just kind of a dream come true.
I love that, and that is it. It's so great because you mentioned it played, off Broadway, so it did already kind of have that following. Well, what about for mainstream? Let's say you're at a family holiday back in 2022, and it's before all the Tony accolades, or you're at a barbecue and somebody says, "Oh, what are you involved with right now?" And you say, "Oh, I'm with the cast." Kimberly, or were they Kim? What it was there some explaining you had to do, Jim?
Always, always. But that is my favorite part about this piece. Like if at a family function I explain what the show is about, I'd do it the same way I just did to you. And if they're not getting it, I'll just say this is my favorite thing I've been a part of in years, because it really is. It is unbelievably powerful and hilarious and will have you laughing and crying. And it is my favorite theatrical experience to come out of the modern Broadway canon in decades. I love it so much. I feel very grateful to be a part of it.
I am so excited. Again, we want to remind our audience listeners, some on traditional radio dial might be hearing a rebroadcast of it, or if it's in your social media stream, you might be finding it that way. This interview is being captured on June the 11th. So This is when it's coming now. We've got the Broadway in Chicago presented run until June the 22nd. So you've got time. Make sure you get those tickets, BroadwayInChicago.com. Tony Panek, want to hop in if you got a question that you've been tapping your toe waiting to ask?
No, Jim. I mean, it sounds like a great show. Opening night. You still get the opening night jitters there.
Oh, always.
Always?
Yeah, that'll never go
It
away.
never goes away.
Honestly, no, that's my favorite part about theater and live performance in general. There will always be kind of like especially maybe particularly on tour, right? Because we're trying this show out in new cities week to week or month to month, depending on the schedule. And so, you never know how Chicago is going to react versus DC, where we just were, or something like that, right? And so it is always really fun and exciting and a little nerve-wracking in a good way to kind of experience opening nights in different places.
I got to ask, while you're in town for Chicago, I mean, what's the food situation look like? What do you have to have while you're in town here?
Oh man, this is my fourth time playing Chicago, and I've checked off all three of the touring houses. I did the Nederlander, done twice at the Palace, and now here I am at the CIBC. So I'm just a huge fan of Chicago and everything the city has to offer. I already went on my travel day in. I already went to Ocean. I got my burger. I went to Three Dots and a Dash. I've got Alla Vita on the list. I'm excited every opportunity I get to kind of get the food here that y'all have to offer.
Yeah.
And you're in a great time. Our weather is kind of cooperating a little bit. We had a little extra of that kind of hazy smoke, but for the most part, nice temperatures for you to be here for this spell as well. How about when I'm watching tonight is at the opening, I'm curious. Tell me about a song or a musical number that you think I'll come away with and it'll still be in my head tomorrow morning. Is there a couple, or is there a favorite of yours?
There's multiple. Our composer Janine Tesori is just one of the greatest we have in just in the modern American musical contemporary writing scene. So she will have multiple things tapping your toes, but honestly, the one that my initial response is Better, which is a song in Act One that is sung by my girlfriend Emily, who I was talking about, who plays Deborah. But there's just not only is the message of the song fantastic, but the tune is as well. So if I had to guess, I'm going to lean in with that one. But then there's multiple others as well that wouldn't necessarily leave you tapping your toes, but have you thinking, right? And that is kind of my favorite part about this show. And so for that, I'll say Our Disease, which is a play or a portion of Act Two where you get to see the students act out a biology project through song. I'll leave it with that. It's fantastic.
Our actor friend Jim Hogan is our guest today. Has got such a long history with this Tony Musical Award winner, multi awards, as Tony Panek had said. Kimberly Akimbo, which is in town right now in Chicago. It is at CIBC Theater until June the 22nd. Jim's history with this goes all the way back to the first time his girlfriend said, "You've got to go see this off Broadway," correct? Then by 2022, you're affiliated with it as kind of standby or understudy. I'm going to ask you at least one tough question. I call these the Larry King, Joan Rivers questions. It's not really that tough, but don't be too frightened. Since you saw the off-Broadway version, and then what was in New York there, that was, a staple that was already there and anchored, and now it's on the road. What is the one thing that, for the on the road one, they really couldn't recapture this scene, or, oh no, we don't have this prop anymore, this piece of scenery, because it's just not conducive to being on the road, or they had to slightly tweak this from what I remember what we did in New York. Is there anything like that that had to be maybe somehow kind of clay molded to make it fit to go on the road?
We are very fortunate. That is not the case for us in this particular production. We did get to reshape some things, right? Our entire original creative team from Broadway was with us on the tour the entire rehearsal process. So we were very lucky in that regard. The only small things I can think of that change, right? On Broadway, we had an elevator that would come out of the floor and would move certain things that we can't do that on tour. But there are a lot of additions that we made for the tour that our director and choreographer, they would kind of talk in rehearsal. Ooh, I always wanted to do this thing on Broadway, but we ran out of time, right? And now we get to put these fun things into the tour. So there's a lot of those elements. But 9 times out of 10, this is the show that you would have seen on Broadway. So we're very, very excited about that.
Yeah, I get so excited, and I love even with friends and buddies that will join me for an opening night, because this is the type of, unless you've done a jaunt or a weekend to New York to see it, it's going to be unfamiliar. Yeah, you might know some clips or have seen some highlights, but so many friends will say, "Oh, I know all these songs because I'm listening to the Sirius Broadway channel." But it's so fun for them then to see the show and say, "Oh, that's the context of what's happening." That, I knew the song so well, but you don't really know the story and how it all threads together, that quilt. And that's what's going to be so much fun and exciting for tonight. And I know you need your rest as well, because you're in the guy as a buddy tonight, and you'll be right there front and center in the spotlight. And how fun that Emily is along for the ride. That doesn't happen very often.
Oh, it never happens. This is our second time technically getting to work together, so we're just shocked that someone let us do it again. And we're thrilled. Tonight's going to be very exciting.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much for taking some time. Once again, it's our actor friend Jim Hogan. He's here in town in Chicago. He's at CIBC there with the rest of the cast. It's Kimberly Akimbo. It's only there until June the 22nd. You want to get your tickets. You will not be disappointed. Count the number of Tonys that this musical has taken home with it, and then you'll see why it's going to be jam-packed tonight and every night. www.broadwayinchicago.com. Thank you so much, Jim. And tonight we'll see you from the audience on the stage, okay?
Excellent. Thanks for having me, y'all. Have a good one.
Thank you. And thank you, Tony Panek, for co-hosting duty. Thank you to our producer, Matt, as well, as we take care of the wrapping up of another one of our editions of Notoriety with your host, Phil Potempa, joined today by co-host Tony Panek. Thank you so much, and we look forward to the next installment, or whenever you're listening to this broadcast, wherever your path might take you, morning, afternoon, or evening.